are you?
Hi, guys.
Thanks for joining us for this special interview. Super excited about it. Obviously, you know that I am Jessica Lynn Di Maria, and I am running for Stafford Mayor, Stafford Township, New Jersey Mayor here for the general election. So, no, I am not running for the primary. But we are looking for signatures right now at this point to get us onto the ballot. So we're super excited about that.
Yes.
And we're just gonna go for this interview and just have fun and hopefully be able to reach out to all of you to kind of have a lot of your questions answered.
Yes. This is I am not a professional interviewer. I am just a friend and a regular person. But we are going to talk about the things that are on everybody's mind, I think.
Yeah. So
I don't even live in this town, so I am not, in it to win it to say or anything like that. She's my good friend, and I know how passionate she has been. She's a mom, a wife, a business owner, a good friend, a good person, and we want good people backing us up in our small towns, I think.
I think so too. I do hope, with doing this, also will allow for other people in other towns to know that they are strong enough to run and to make a difference and to not be afraid. And I'm just really a small town girl who, my children are being raised here, and I'm a homeowner here, my husband and and I have a business here. My mother-in-law has a business here in our town, so we are pretty deeply rooted here and absolutely love the community. There is just so much, there's so much greatness here in our town, and the integrity of our town is obviously beautiful. Like, we went walking through the neighborhood yesterday, and Erica was, admiring the houses and
beautiful
stuff back there.
I've never been down those streets before, so absolutely beautiful. And the people were all so welcoming and beautiful. Yes. Actually.
It really
was.
It really is. It's so nice to be able to just reach out to the community and have just conversations about just anything and everything. And, not feel that there's this divide, because obviously there's a huge divide in politics. I just want to throw this out there that I am a Republican. I am running as an independent Republican because I wasn't endorsed by the Stafford Conservative Republican Club here in Stafford Township. They have their eyes on somebody else, and obviously I could see that happens, and I'll explain why. But I am running as an independent Republican because I have to run as an independent Republican because I am a Republican and I wasn't endorsed. And I am running in the general election. As long as I get all the signatures I need, which is, they don't make it easy, I have to say. It's not easy, because I just want to throw it out there too, real quick, that I wasn't really sure how it worked. So if you want to run in the presidential election, in the general election, right. Forget about the primary. That's basically already done. Obviously, we're going to be voting. I hope you get out there and vote.
And if you're not registered to vote, we learned that yesterday as well.
Yes.
Make sure you're registered to vote, because there are people who are not. A lot of people who are not.
And you still have time, so don't be afraid and think that you don't have time to get registered to vote. So you still can do that. If you're not registered to vote, obviously you're not going to be able to sign any signatures for my petition to get on the general election ballot, or for anyone for that matter. Yes. But you still have time to get out there and get registered to vote, so you can vote in the general election. So that's really important. But what was I saying about voting? And then I just got sidetracked. But so basically, I am a Republican, and I have had some people say to me, well, it's not going to play in your favor that, you aren't a Republican. And I'm like, no, I am a Republican. The way that it works is that, I have to be independent Republican at this point. So I will be on the opposite side of the ballot, but that doesn't mean anything just because I'm on the opposite side of the ballot. That's another thing that I keep getting from people is that, that's really hard. You're not going to make it being over there. You have to be backed by these people. But as we get into this interview, I want to say this. So obviously I'm Republican. I vote Republican. I vote for Republican all around. Okay. But just because I am a Republican does not mean that I will agree with a Republican that is not doing the right thing. And that does not mean that I will agree with a Democrat if they're not doing the right thing. Like, I'm not going to agree on anything with anyone.
Right.
No matter, no matter who anyone is or the status of someone or how much money someone has or
right.
Or, I don't see it that way. It has to be right for the community. So now, obviously, I'm part of the club, and everybody actually in the club met Christine Serrano Glassner, who is actually was recently endorsed by Trump, which I thought was awesome. By the way, I think that is awesome, and I am 100% supporting her in her run. So when I met her, and there were some things that she had spoken up about at the club meeting, and that did it for me, just hearing that. But it turns out that the club is endorsing someone else as a senator, so right there, it showed me that, okay, well, the club didn't find anything they liked in Christine Serrano Glassner, and they didn't like what was in they seen in me. So they pick and they choose who they want to endorse and who they want to back. But I just thought it was really interesting that you have a Republican club who is saying they're for Trump, and yet endorses someone totally different than Trump actually endorses.
Was it because it's a woman?
I don't know. It's interesting. We have a lot of women in the club, so I don't understand what happened there. But as I am going through this past month, because that's, we went to the club meeting, I started to think about all these different things. And I realized that there's something more to it that we are not seeing. So, and it has to do with the county line here in Ocean County. So, I'm a small business owner. So, and one of the things I like to do is I'm a problem solver. And I'm a thinker. I'm a big thinker. So I really like to think about everything. And sometimes, I've had people tell me that, I'm an overthinker, I think too much, but I don't really think in certain things that an overthinker is a bad thing. I think it's actually a really good thing. I think that it means that I'm really thorough when it comes to making decisions. And based on, me running for mayor, which I know we'll talk more about this and you'll talk, but I just feel like that's really important. It's really important to be able to be thorough, to be able to, look at everything. And number one, I'm not running for myself. First off, I believe that any political position anyone is in, it gets like lost on why you really are, taking an oath in that political position. And it doesn't matter whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, or whoever you are, that every single person, no matter what party you're affiliated with, is taking an oath for the same common reason, which is to serve the people, which is to serve the community. And unfortunately, that has gotten so lost
Yes.
You know, however you want to look at lost is because everybody also has different perspectives on things,
Yes, they
and
do.
like, you know, one word could mean 5 different things
Yes,
to
it
someone
does.
else.
Yes.
And it can get like completely
Mhm.
distorted and things like that, because
Mhm.
I've witnessed that for myself.
Mm-hmm. Me as well.
But I have to say that it's gotten lost, and I see that it's gotten lost here in our own community.
Yes.
Locally. And you know, I want to bring what is missing out and bring it back, and help the community in every single way possible, especially taxpayers.
Mm-hmm.
But I just keep talking.
Yeah,
you
so
guys,
let's begin
Yes,
the proper
let's
way
begin.
here.
Sorry.
So my name is Erica Capro. I am not from Stafford. I am from Barnegat. I am a registered Democrat, but I vote independent. I think, being 50 years old, I think my parents are a registered Democrat, and they too actually vote independently now as well. And I think when you're a young girl, or young boy too, growing up in your house, you kind of always follow suit. Maybe when you're younger like that, going kind of what your parents do, because I'm very influenced by things that they would teach me.
Right.
So at that time, they, they were always Democrat. We have, as a family, we have voted the same now, following
Very
for the last 10 years at least, definitely. And our views are the same, even though we live in separate households. My parents are 80, I am 50, I am married, I have 2 children of my own. And my oldest is in high school, and he has his views as well. So, and we listen. Yeah. So, Jess, I am here today. Oh, and I am a small business owner as well.
That's correct.
In Barnegat. So, I met you through business.
That's right.
Not friendly, through business.
Yes.
Through this wonderful town that we live in, this community, actually. And how did we first actually meet?
Well, at
the store.
I think did we go out to Old Causeway?
By coincidence, we met.
By coincidence.
By
yes.
coincidence, I saw you there.
Physically, yeah.
Yes, and then I think we just followed each other's page from the locally.
Yeah, I think like before we actually met physically in person. Yeah. We were following each other.
Yes.
I know, but it was nice to finally have like a face.
Yes.
Connection, like that's another thing. Like and since COVID, like that connection that we have with people is like I think people have lost that.
Yes.
So
yes.
Connecting, it's very.
Mm-hmm.
I love to be connected with people. I love to talk to people. I love to meet new people. Some might say I'm a little shy, like to start conversation. I think once conversation gets started, I'm like a social butterfly.
Mm-hmm. So my first question to you would be, being that you're so passionate on your town, on your family, on your children, your son is serving in the military, which was a huge thing.
It was huge.
It's amazing. It was scary as a mom.
Yes.
You have a lot. You have a lot of things that run through your head. He's a graduate of the high school here in town in Stafford.
Yeah.
And what brought you to want to take on this huge endeavor?
Okay, that's a
running
really
for
good
mayor.
question.
What drove you here?
Well, let's just say
that's our starting point.
Yeah, this is good. This is really good. So, it actually didn't just start recently.
Okay.
Or within the last 6 months.
Okay.
It actually stems from 2016, which is interesting. So I personally wasn't really into politics that much, and in 2016, I do remember the experience obviously that I had was I voted. I did vote. I voted, I guess at that point, I voted where I thought it was the right thing within my heart. Like whether or not I never voted at that point either, ever in the primary. I always voted in the general election. So I did vote. I voted.
Right.
But I voted where I saw good values. And so anyway, I will never forget it because I came into getting involved in politics in 2016. And I came into knowing God personally in 2016. And so that's when Trump was running. And I will never forget, I was not for Trump. I was for, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of his name. He was the one, I know he was a brain surgeon, like he was a surgeon, and he was so smart. And he was a Republican. I really should have wrote his name down, but I did not think about it. So anyway, I will have to get back to you on that. But anyway, so I was just, when Trump said he was running, I was like, is this a joke?
Right.
I really was, to be honest. I was like, is this a joke? Is this guy really running for president? I mean, he really wants to take on something like this? You know, he's a businessman, and you always hear all kinds of stories and things and yada, yada, yada. So I watched as he went through the process, and, I was intrigued by him slowly. Because at first I just said, I would never vote for him. Okay? So I think Trump actually pulled me into really being engaged and really wanting to know more about politics. So if anything, that's a positive right there, first off. So he kind of pushed me to listen and observe and really see what is going on in our country and see what is going on. Just, it wasn't about a Republican thing or a Democrat thing or an independent thing or anything like that. It wasn't even a political thing in so many ways. It was more like being intrigued.
Right.
And really listening and really observing, but at the same time having my own thoughts, so thinking for myself.
Right.
And it just pulled me in deeper and deeper and deeper, and I started to have this passion and this need to have a voice during 2016, the election. And I was like, what is going on with me? I was vocally out there on social media expressing the things that I agreed with Trump, that I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm agreeing with him. I was shocked that I was agreeing with him. So I have to say that. But yeah.
Did I ever tell you that I met him?
No.
Not recently. When I was probably in my early 20s, I used to be the customer service.
Oh, I think you did mention.
I used to be the director of customer service at a computer and electronics company in Edison, in Raritan Center. And we had a couple of locations. There was one in Woodbridge, Scarsdale, New York, Wayne, New Jersey, Princeton. And then they had, it was called International Business Solutions, that was right inside the Waldorf Astoria.
Okay.
And it was a little business center back in the 90s.
Okay.
So as the employees
of the 90s,
yes.
The economy was so different back then,
yes.
too.
And, we're talking how many years ago? I was in my 20s. And as young girls we all used to, young gentlemen who was sales, we worked in the warehouse, customer service, and we all worked, and I worked in the main headquarters. Every time International Business Solutions was doing something, we were always invited to everything. Our bosses, it was Jewish Orthodox.
And that's
Orthodox,
experience.
and they were very good to us.
Yeah.
They were always very good to me. So, and I worked there a nice amount of time, and I met him there at the Waldorf Astoria.
That's awesome.
Yes, and he was very.
And that had to have been like
I didn't really know who he
yeah.
I mean, I just knew. I mean, he was a business person right then and there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he's so commercial like he is now.
Right,
on The Apprentice and all of that followed. Obviously, is unbelievable. I didn't think so many years ago I'd be talking to future president.
You never know, I know.
But you don't know. But I always tell this story if asked. I don't, obviously, unless it comes up.
Right.
I don't just,
Well, we're talking
he
about
never
it right now, so it's like...
hit on me. He never hit on my friends that work there. None of that ever happened. Just to put that out there.
Yeah, I know. Well, because, you hear stories, but that's where I'm saying, like, for me, you hear things, but, I have learned, especially through this process, you can really never always believe what you hear. You really need to actually connect with the people in person to kind of, because, we tend to just, like, absorb, especially even in politics, we absorb what other people are saying and doing, but I always believe that if I'm not witnessing it for myself, and I'm not seeing it, or I'm not hearing it for myself, I'm not going to judge anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really need to see it for myself and hear it. And so I know as we get into this, I'm sure some stuff we'll talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But
I also met Gene Simmons.
Okay.
There as well, the same night.
Oh my goodness.
And he was very nice as well.
Yeah, so so here we are. So, like, how did I get involved in politics, and how did I get involved in running for mayor? So, so basically it stems from, I have to give Trump credit for that, because he actually really pulled me into wanting to know more about politics, and then seeing how he was treated. So that really was another thing. So like I said, I don't believe everything I see, as far as, like, you got to really, like, engage and connect in order to really know. And so here I was, like a lot of people,
mm-hmm.
having this mindset where I was judging him. Okay, so mind you, I didn't even have a personal relationship with God yet at this point either, but this is all evolving. It's happening in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And so I already had this judgment, going, and just felt like, how could he even run? But then slowly it was like, I was hearing, and I know people will be like, that sounds so crazy, but I'm just going to be completely honest. I was hearing, like, this voice telling me, you have to vote for Trump. You have to vote for Trump. And I got the chills just talking about it, to be honest with you right now. I did. I was like, what the heck? I'm not going to vote for him. But then as it went on, it was like, I was starting to see things that, like, I don't know if I ever would have saw, but it was like there was some weird kind of connection going on within politics and me observing everything, and then also with God. Like, I was like, what is going on here? Like, I would never have voted for him if I don't know. It just was so interesting. So anyway.
It's funny you say that, because I would probably say that I am not overly political as well.
Yeah.
And he as well changed my views as being a native. I am actually a native New Yorker.
Okay.
So my family, when you're from Brooklyn and Manhattan, especially with Trump, he's always been front and center. Like, he doesn't hide. He'll walk the streets. So a regular person will see him, especially, like, in front of his hotel or whatever was going on. He would get out and talk to. So when you're from the area that we lived, maybe the elevator shaft person, or people that cleaned the hotels, he had a lot to do with a lot of people. Yeah. So you don't judge a book on its cover.
That's correct.
And that actually opened my eyes when I saw what the general public was making of this. And he wasn't a politician. He was a regular, he's not a regular business owner, but he put a lot on the line to run his family. His family, his son, his first daughter, the first daughter-in-law, she couldn't take the one, with all the children.
Yeah.
She got so freaked out. She couldn't take the spotlight. The daughter, right? Her business, she had the clothing line, which they did to her. So they did put a lot on the line, I think, for the United States of America. But
I feel like if you're not in politics, right? And already the fact that Trump was already like this big top businessman and, you know, Manhattan and, you know, really generally all around the world.
Yes.
And I think that you're already opened up to people who are going to be negative and jealous.
Yes.
And there's a lot of greed in there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I do think that like for anyone, including myself, you know, and I'll get into that, to put yourself out there, you really have to have a love and a passion for your country,
yes,
the people, you know. But when you're like spoon-fed politics as a politician, you don't know anything else.
Right.
You only know how to work the system. And you have an agenda and you have a narrative that you work with and you get your hands very deep into politics. But someone who is not into politics and more business savvy, you know, it's different. And I can say that personally now, knowing it's different. The outlook is different. Your perspective is just different. Your ideas are different. Everything is different. And the fact as a business person, you're connecting with the community on a different level than if you were spoon-fed and raised to be a politician, or, you know, which a lot of these politicians have connections within politics from the moment that they even were born.
Correct.
So, you know, that kind of getting out in the public is different than being a businessman or a businesswoman.
Yeah.
Totally different. The connection's different.
So I have it, you know, after me and my husband, I would say we were probably about the same. You know, we're the same age. I believe his parents are the same as well politically. I don't know. We don't really talk politics with people that often, honestly. But it was interesting because I had 2 littles at the time in 2016. And here in our towns, we, as you know, if you're from the town, we get off for New Jersey Week, for New Jersey Teachers Convention.
That's
so
right.
We went on a cruise. I guess we flew to Florida, I want to say. Now we actually leave out of New York a lot for that week. And it was during the presidential election. So it was the first time I had an absentee ballot. We made sure of it.
Oh, okay.
Never could care less.
I've never had one of them.
Never could care less either way, because if I wasn't here, it didn't matter to me that much. And I'm embarrassed to say that. But we made sure, we knew we were going away. We made sure we got our absentee ballot. Now, one of the stops, let me back up. When we were on the cruise, you were not allowed to talk politics to anybody on the cruise. They let you know it as soon as you got on. There was actually a thing on Royal Caribbean. There was a notice. CNN was the only perspective that you could watch on the cruise.
Really?
And during the election, because we were on the boat, you could not leave your room if you were going to talk like that. There was no CNN anywhere.
So this was on the day of election day?
Yes.
And
there was you could not go and watch it at the bar or anything like that, because they didn't want any fights to break out. They didn't want any of that. And the only channel they had was CNN. So we're watching everything unfold. And if you remember correctly, things didn't happen until the wee hours of the night. So now it's the next morning and he gets in. And our stop is Mexico. Remember, build the wall.
Yes.
So I tell my kids, let's not talk. Because I didn't know. We didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
We're Americans. We're going to Mexico. We don't know what people are going to think, because we were a little scared.
Okay.
You know, I said, let's just keep our distance from everybody. We didn't want to talk to anybody, you know, even like people from the cruise, or even people on the cruise. We just didn't know.
That's sad. That's really kind of sad, actually.
Because I had my children, and they were young, so
it's very sad.
We didn't know what was going to be happening in another
country.
What
politics has just done and is
because
doing.
You couldn't form your own opinion. without people letting them know what
well,
your
you still,
opinion.
and now it's even worse. You really can't form your own
Right.
opinion. But I honestly, I have no fear. So, just saying, I have no fear to talk about anything, to get into discussion about anything, to have a voice about things that are wrong, and putting a stop to things that are not wrong, that are not right for the community. I have no problem with that, because I have seen what doing the wrong things has done in our country, let alone just globally. But I want to just finish me with how I did with this whole mayor thing, why I decided. So I ended up, let's just say, it was October 2016. So I just want to back up. I went through a very emotional experience in 2016. It had to do with my oldest son, and I'm not going to get too much into detail with that, because I respect his privacy, and I respect my privacy too. The world doesn't realize that people have a right to privacy, and unfortunately everybody wants to be in everybody's business. People want to blackmail people, and I'm very well aware of that. So I just want to throw that out there. But anyway, I went through to me was a very traumatic experience, and it was emotionally, mentally, and just physically draining for me. And on October 16th, 2016, obviously I knew of God. I knew there was one God, but as far as having a relationship with him, and going to church and praying and knowing and reading the Bible and all those things, that really didn't start happening until then, because that's when I completely broke. I completely broke.
And you needed that.
And when they say you literally fall to the floor, and you beg God to help you, and you beg God for love and forgiveness, and you beg God for just feel peace. It's emotional to even talk about it, but anyway, that was the point for me. That was the breaking point, and I fell to the floor, and I literally just down in what do you want to say, I was gonna say cat pose. I don't know all my yoga poses, so don't hold me to it. But I did. I just laid in a ball on the floor, and I completely broke. And that was it for me. That was my turning point of really building a firm, solid relationship with God and the Lord Jesus, and I will tell you this, I will never take him out of my run for mayor. I will never take God out of that, because I have witnessed some serious changes in my life. I have witnessed the things that God has done since I've just given my life to him. I was never baptized as a kid. My mom always believed that she didn't bring us to church and do any of that stuff, and neither did my dad. And I'm kind of thankful that she didn't, because it allowed me to experience God the way I needed to experience him, and to get to know him on a very personal level, of where now my daughter's like, Mom, are you talking to God now? She'll do that. It's so cute though. But anyway, so I just gave my life to him, and I was baptized on September 29th, 2019.
Nice.
And I waited that long, as I went to church, and I went through my journey and walking in faith, and just my life was changing, everything was changing. And mind you, I've been with my husband for 21 years, going on 22 years. So, to go through this with him also is an experience. But and my daughter, who was, I don't know, maybe she was 2019. Oh my God, don't get me going about math and stuff. But anyway, she was young. So for her to experience me getting baptized, I was baptized by Bayside Chapel, which is an amazing, beautiful church. Just want to throw that out there. It's in Barnegat. And that's where I received God. I was able to connect, and just, that's where, and everybody receives God differently. and everybody receives God in a different level of religion, or however I am one of those people that I will never push that on anyone, because I get it. I did have someone who was kind of hanging around me that tried to push God on me, and I wasn't there, and it just was frustrating. So I get it how frustrating it can be when somebody's trying to push something on you that you're not actually ready for.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can relate. Okay, so I have a lot of experiences that I've gone through in my life that makes me be able to relate to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, I went on this journey or whatever. By the way, I did vote for Trump, which I said I would never do, and I did. And I realize more now, I got the chills, than ever, that was such a God thing, okay? Because I came into politics in 2016. I came into knowing God and building a personal relationship with him in 2016. I completely, like, my life, there was this weight lifted off of my shoulders. There was a love and a happiness that I just really longed for and a peace for a long time, and getting baptized, and then, but so honestly, through politics, so Trump won.
Yes.
And it just intrigued me even more to just want to know and learn, and I researched things, and I was curious about all kinds of things. And then I started to feel this passion and this drive to over politics,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to but the drive also, I believe, came from a God place. It was like, all I want to do is just do good. All I want to do is just do the right thing. And, doing the right thing and being honest and it's not always easy, because you get a lot of criticism. I find that, there's a lot of different people who have a lot of different views, and I really honestly humble myself to really understand, especially now as I've grown in my faith, which growing in faith completely changes your walk, I have to tell you. And people who have known me before I knew God to knowing God can definitely tell you that my walk has definitely changed.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely changed my life, just growing in faith. And so I've learned that, we have so many people in this world and country and town and, everywhere, that has so many different views and so many different needs and wants, and they just, not everybody's going to think the same. Not everybody talks the same. Not everybody walks the same. Not everybody has the same dreams and goals, and everybody has something so different.
Yes.
And I believe that God has given us gifts, everyone. And when I talk to you about God, I'm not talking to you about God because I'm trying to persuade you, or I'm trying to push you to get to know God. I'm telling you these things from my experience,
Mm-hmm.
from what I've seen with my own eyes, and I've felt with my heart and my soul, that, and that's why my walk has changed, because God has opened me up to see so many different things that I probably would have never have seen if I didn't have that completely, emotional moment where
Right.
I broke down. And I've just grown stronger.
Mm-hmm.
As the years have gone on from 2016, I've just gotten stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. But that doesn't mean that I am perfect. That doesn't mean that I'm not vulnerable. That doesn't mean that I don't have weaknesses. That doesn't mean that I don't cry, or that just when I say I'm strong, it's like I go through the storms and seasons just like everyone else.
Yes.
And I own it. I own it. And when I get emotional saying it, because I own it, because I realize that so many people don't own their mistakes. They want to cover it up. They don't want the truth is just gets so hidden, but the truth is what makes you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps you grow. And when you can't accept the truth, and God's truth for that matter, not my truth or your truth or anyone's truth, it's God's truth. That's what I believe. And God shows you that.
Mm-hmm.
He reveals that to you, that it's not your truth. Like this, like everything I have literally witnessed, that no matter what plans I have in my life, if it's working out, it's because God wants it to work out.
Right.
If it's not working out, it's because God doesn't want it to work out.
Right.
And He has other plans for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so as I'm growing or whatever, so now we're approaching.
Yes.
So.
Well, what I wanted to say was before you had mentioned something about your passions, about how strong-willed you are on things. And I wanted to, and it kind of made me remember a story that you said. So here at Aramid Designs, Jess has a wellness, it's a lot of wellness. Tell them about how you got into inventing some of the products. And that will show the people how dedicated you are when you think too much and you're on a mission, and how you start and you finish something.
Yeah,
How you got onto the wellness bar that's behind us in the next room.
Yes. So how I got started with the wellness bar, it really started with me personally going through an experience that I was diagnosed with Lyme's disease.
Mm-hmm.
Which
a lot of people, now that we're in the season, it's gotten warm.
Yeah.
You have to check.
That's correct.
And you should always take your ticks to get checked, even though we all want to squash them and throw them away. But every tick can have, they tell you deer tick, but any tick can have a tick-borne illness. That you definitely can get it from any tick bite, really. So you have to be careful. Mm-hmm.
But I basically suffered, and when I say suffered, I mean I got sick. I got sick as far as like my body was sick. I hurt. Got to a point where I could barely walk. My husband, and he would tell you himself, he used to not massage my hands or my feet, or just he would like squeeze. Like I would be in so much pain I couldn't even go to sleep at night.
Wow.
And then eventually I kept going to the doctor, I kept getting all these tests done, and they were just like coming back negative. And I'm like, there's something wrong. Something is going on. I'm telling you, I'm going to be in a wheelchair if I don't figure it out. But I ended up having 2 pregnancy losses while I was going through this 2 years of having Lyme's disease that I didn't know I had. By the second pregnancy loss, my doctor finally said, let's do a couple more tests. Because I told her, I said, if we got to figure out what this is or what's going on, I said, something is going on. I'm going to be in a wheelchair in the next 6 months if we don't figure it out. Because at this point, it's so chronic at this point. And I was having flare-ups like every month. It was just continuous. And it was like weird. I was tested for lupus. I was tested for MS. I was tested for, you name it, every autoimmune, thing that you could possibly think of. And everything was negative. So finally, I'll never forget the day I was in AT&T here in Manahawkin. And it was in 2013. I got a phone call from my doctor, and she said, well, I know what's wrong.
Oh.
She said, I got your test results back. She said, you have Lyme's disease. And I was like, I almost cried, because I was like, at that point, I just was so happy to have an answer.
Right.
Of feeling just suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just back it up back to the very beginning, so I do know pretty much when I got bit. Okay. And how I know is because once I found out what I had, I went full blown into research.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I want to know more about this now. I want to know what I can do.
Well, that's why I mentioned it, because I knew that.
Yeah, so like
you did that.
I definitely
which shows your passion for things.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. But it is true. Like,
and how you take something from start to finish, because that's important. That's very
correct.
Important, because that goes hand in hand with what we're doing here, what you're doing.
Yeah, running as mayor. Yeah,
Now it's funny because, God, I'll be married 20 years myself, and me and my
Well, I'm only married for 12, but we're together 22.
Oh, okay.
It'll be 22 years.
So
but yeah.
my fiance at the time, we went to Princeton University just to walk around, and I was sitting on the steps and I was like looking down. I guess it was warm.
Yeah.
And I noticed something and I'm like, oh, what's this? And sure enough, it was a tick. We pulled it out and just thought nothing of it. Within 24 hours, I was sick like you could not believe. Went to the doctor and had to be on antibiotics for, I don't remember, 10 days or whatever, like these horse pills.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that either I was allergic or something, the reaction of it immediately. So I don't know. At the time, I didn't even think to get it tested. You know, you're young and you're whatever, 30 or whatever.
Yeah, you don't.
So, so I don't know if that was just me, having a reaction.
Could have had a reaction.
To it.
It is true. You could have a reaction. It might not be, but ticks do carry different kinds of bacteria. So you could have been allergic to a different kind of bacteria that is getting into your bloodstream. But
so tell them how. We're not here to give a total, we're not medical professionals. We're not here to give you a whole thing about Lyme's disease and whatever.
No.
But tell them what you do here and how that kind of, how you work on your little inventions and all your things that you're passionate about.
It's so funny because
and how people come in here.
And I'm like a chemist, but
yeah,
I didn't go to school to be a chemist. But I have to tell you.
It just shows your perseverance, though. That's why my point was.
I self-educated myself.
Mm-hmm.
I self-taught myself. Is that what you want to say? Yeah, I guess you could say it like that. I didn't go to college to learn about Lyme's disease and all that stuff, but one thing led into another. So me trying to find out, okay, now I have this, now I know what it is, and now I need to find out, okay, so I was on doxycycline for a whole month. It helped me, thank God. But I also learned that after having it for 2 years and not knowing that I had it, whatever damage was being done at that over the 2 years is undoable.
Yes.
And it becomes chronic. And so Lyme's disease actually lays dormant in your tissues, in your soft tissue. So, it might not ever come out. So it kind of goes into like remission. And it might not ever come out ever again in your whole life. That doxycycline might have just wiped it out.
Right. But it hides in your system.
So it's something that you never really actually fully get rid of. Now doctors, they're like, oh, that's not true. But I did so much research that to a point where I started learning about other things, like the foods that we're eating, how it affects the inflammation response in our body, how it affects our immune system. And obviously with any autoimmune, your inflammation response and your immune system are 100% affected. So those are two main things you really have to, look out for, because if not, you get very sick and you're very susceptible to getting other things. And when you have flare-ups, it's not just like, just a simple thing. Sometimes it can be very mild, but there are times where it can be extremely, excruciatingly painful. Right to your bones. Like it actually just hurts to your bones, your core. But anyway, so I started researching. What can I do to help my inflammation? What can I do to help my immune system? Then it went into the products I was using. Bath and Body Works and a lot of different brands, a lot of different brands. From your shampoo to your conditioner to your perfumes to your makeup, your hairsprays and your gels and your lotions and your salves and your serums and your nail polish, your you name it, everything. Your shaving cream, so I went on this journey into educating myself on all this stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I got to start eliminating this stuff in my life and in my, change my lifestyle. And because now, once you have something like this, the only way you're going to feel better is you're not going to be on antibiotics for the rest of your life. And I am not one for taking medications and things like that. So I didn't want to do anything for pain or for pain management. So I started saying, okay, well,
Plus, after you take antibiotics, as we know,
it lowers your immune system.
It lowers your immune system, and then it only will
and it
work.
also, you can get different side effects from every medication too. So you know, before I actually found out I had Lyme disease, and I started creating my own products for me personally, I already had started using essential oils.
Yes.
And my grandmother had a juice bar on the island here in LBI, and we used to incorporate the essential oils into, because you could ingest these ones, into the different shakes and smoothies and different things like that. And, you know,
well, that's cool.
So I definitely seen a change. And this was actually, no, you know what? This was after I found out I had Lyme disease that I started incorporating the oils. So that was in 2013. And mind you, I had 2 losses. Well, after I finally found out I had Lyme disease, I finally was treated for it. Now I'm changing my products that I'm using. Now I'm using essential oils, and my whole lifestyle is changing. Well, guess what? I ended up getting pregnant with our daughter, Stella.
Nice.
And hence her name. She's our moon and star child. She's Stella Luna. So she was, you know, it was just, you know, not that not all my children were everything to me, but this was just like, and everything that was happening was just like,
and being, you know, a boutique owner, I've had several customers who know that you and I are friends, and a couple of the things that we carry at the storefront, they say that they come here because they have allergies, they have different things, and they only use your products.
Yeah. Because
so that makes a difference. So my point was not to promote business,
right.
Not to promote my business, your business. It was just really to establish how she gets dedicated to something.
Right.
And that means a lot because she's running for mayor, and it shows your perseverance. It shows that you're dedicated, loyalty, and things like that.
And I want to help, and I wanted. So
I've come in here crying, headaches, blah blah blah, whatever, and you know, always available, never turn you away, and that's a really great treat.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to be able to. So so doing what I did changed my life. So I want to say that it changed my life. Using all clean, literally everything's plant derived. Everything is essential oils. So it's scented with, also the oils are therapeutic grade. They have medicinal properties to them. So it's literally changed my life. And I had a lot of friends that were like, Jess, why are you not, sharing this with everyone? Why are you not? So that's how that got started.
Well, it's funny because yesterday, I didn't even tell you this because we really didn't talk about it. So, talk about yesterday on that level. But yesterday I had done we did a party, and we had a customer who was allergic to many things.
Okay.
And we were using your products for hand massages.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Okay.
The sample, the tester.
Yeah,
because a little goes a long way.
Yeah.
And I said, well, being that your daughter has X, Y, and Z, the kid had a ton of allergies.
Right.
We put a sample on her wrist.
Yeah.
And just a little bit, and I actually said to her, well, this is where this came from. Being she has all these allergies, at least you know that you can go there because she will go over everything with you. And this way, because, the makeup and the different things, we didn't know, we had opened all the products. It was all different products, but we didn't have the...
Right, yeah.
We didn't have the labaling for it.
I always say everything in moderation. You're not going to completely get rid of everything. You're not going to completely change everything, but it is everything in moderation. And if you can slowly change different things, I think it does help. And I have to say, my products have helped a lot of people.
Yes. So
like
all that hard work.
With their skin conditions and their problems. So it actually is, it's a great feeling to know that I've been able to help others, not only just help myself. Because I always feel like, what good are we? This is the gift thing. what good are we if we don't share the goodness that we're born with, that we have it in everyone has it in them, and I believe and there's good and bad in everything, but with this whole running for mayor, so I just want to go back to that really quick.
Yes.
So I have wanted to do something very political because I want to make a difference, because I want to truly make change, and just observing and seeing and watching. Because let me tell you something, I'm watching, I'm listening, I'm learning too. We're all learning. We're learning every single day. For anyone to say they know everything or that they're so perfect, you're not telling the truth. So it's all about, be honest with yourself. And I think that, I'm learning every day. We're all learning every day. To say that someone has more, has more quality over you, well, how do you really know that? Majority of people that say that don't even know who you are, or they don't think you're enough, or they think you don't know enough, or whatever. But everybody has to start out somewhere.
Yes.
And so whether it's a small business and you grow, or you want to run for a political position, you get involved, So I am I am a county committee woman.
Yes.
For my district here in Stafford Township for District 15.
And explain what that means exactly.
So basically, what my job is, for the community as being a county committee woman, and there are county committee men. We have, I think it's about 25 districts here in Stafford Township, New Jersey alone. And everyone is assigned in the county committee their district. You have to live within your district.
Okay.
Okay. And our job is when we're voting in the town, for for instance, for councilmen, and you have a councilman that steps down or a councilman that steps up to another position, we have to fill the seat. The seat has to be filled, and so it's the job of the county committee to come together and place a vote, and then the council comes in and then they place their vote and pick after that. So really, I do take my job seriously when I am voting for county committee. A lot of people don't, but I do. I think to myself, well, it's my job for my district here in 15, for the people who live in our district and our town, as you think about that, to place the vote on the person that I believe is going to be fit for the job, to do the right thing,
right,
to make the right choice. And you, the community, I'm part of the community, but the community, if you're not on the county committee, you're not going to vote for this. Just like we had the interim mayor, the town didn't vote for interim mayor.
Right.
The county committee did, and so did the council and the mayor, and also the club, had a lot of say within that, that. So yeah, my job is to take that voting very seriously.
Can you explain what the club means? What you keep talking about is the club?
Okay.
Because for a regular person like me,
I know.
I'm kind of putting it together.
Yeah, a little bit. From me, I'm giving you knowledge,
you're giving me knowledge, but
yeah.
I never knew there was a club.
Right. So you usually,
I don't know if everybody else knows, but there's a club.
So there is a club. This club that I'm talking about in particular is the Stafford Conservative Republican Club. And it's basically anybody who is a Republican here in our town can become part of the club, which I will get to that because I'm not really, I thought that's how it works. So, you're a Republican, you can fill out an application to get into the club. So you can't just get in the club. You do pay dues for the club, and you have to be a Republican to be in the club, this particular club. And I'm sure there are Democratic clubs, and there's different clubs for each political, affiliation.
So if you're a registered Democrat like me,
yes,
I can't be in that club.
Correct.
Even though I'm an independent. Okay,
correct.
Gotcha.
You cannot.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Okay. And what do they do there?
So, well, basically, other people also from other towns can join the club. So you don't have to live here in Stafford in order to be part of the Stafford Conservative Republican Club, but you have to be a Republican, and the dues are different I know
each
that.
town.
You're welcome to go on the site and
educate yourself
and
a little
educate
bit.
yourself. And you know, I think you can request an application if you want to.
Is it kind of like an American Legion type of thing?
Kind of, sort of, maybe. I think
Okay.
like I can bring in other Republicans to come and see if they like the club and they like what it's about, and then they can decide whether they want to join, and you have to be endorsed.
Oh, okay.
So you have to be endorsed by people who are within the club, and they have
Oh.
to be within the club for X amount of time.
Okay.
So you get signatures to be endorsed. I
Oh.
believe you have to have 3 signatures.
Okay.
And then it goes back for review. And from what I was told by someone who is a part of the club, heavily, basically, they created this club, and that it goes through a screening process. Basically, your application to become a club member goes through a screening process. So you're not really guaranteed, even though you're a Republican, to get picked to be part of the club. I mean, basically what I'm seeing is that you have to be liked. They have to like you.
Oh gosh, like
or
everything
know
else.
you,
Yeah.
or something
It's
like
being
that.
in high school.
Because I'll explain what they worry about, but you know, you also you know, I don't know. Like there's stipulations. Oh, and then they check your voting history.
Oh, okay.
So if you're a Republican and they see that, you know, you just became a Republican and you're just voted for
Just a couple
a
times.
Democrat president or whatever, and they might deny your application.
Gotcha.
But I don't actually care for that very much, because I'm going to be honest. I've seen it happen to a friend who was a Democrat, and they did vote Democrat prior, but then they since, you know, realized that, you know, that's really not who they wanted to. They were like regretted voting that way, and now have since become Republican because they really see what's happening in the world today, and it actually pulled her in as to become a Republican. And I think that because of her voting record, this is what I'm going to say. I believe, it's my right to an opinion and thought about it, that they didn't accept her because, or even send her anything. And it was funny because 2 people I knew did the application at the same time. I was right there, physically was right there. Not the application, they requested for the application. So you have to request for the application.
Wow.
So you don't even get the application, you got to request for it. Then they send it to you, and then you have to fill it out, and then it gives you a breakdown of what you have to do. You got to get endorsed and whatever.
So it's a lengthy process.
It's a process, but
and you are a member.
I am a member now. So years ago when I became county committee, the current mayor and his wife, you know, more his wife, because her and I became connected personally. You know, our kids knew each other, and you know, and she seen that I was very vocally out there politically. She came to me and had asked me if I would run for county committee, because I guess they didn't know anyone in this district.
Oh.
And Spotafora actually is in my district. He was our mayor 2 terms ago.
Okay.
Who's, you know, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But anyway, so basically, that's how I felt like, you know what, I do want to run as county committee, because it kind of gave me, that foot in the door.
Right.
You know, into politics a little bit more, because I knew that I wanted to get involved.
Right.
So that really helped me to get involved, to help me to see things and observe things, and you know, and be a part of what's going on. And so through that process, you know, I have to say was interesting, because then that's when I really started to see the things that I didn't see as a community member. And that really drove me into thinking, I've got to do something.
Right.
I've got...
Well, I can just imagine, because after just spending a little bit of time with you on this journey,
yeah,
I've seen a lot of things as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
It is very interesting.
What
You don't realize
bothers
it.
me? Yeah, what bothers me is that our community here in Stafford Township, New Jersey, you know, we're all really busy. A lot of parents here, a lot of seniors, a lot of, you know, we're all really busy people here, coming and going and working and doing, and you know, so when it comes to local politics, it's really not really paid attention to enough to be able to see the things.
Right.
A lot of things are happening behind closed doors.
Correct.
And
as a busy mom of two, I have two boys.
Yeah.
You know, it is harder. I don't remember my mom being as busy as I am with my kids.
Yeah.
But in all due fairness, we weren't really sporty kids. My brother was into sports for a short period of time. I was a nerdy singer in classical.
Nerdy? Well,
no, I always say nerdy,
what?
but I was not in bands, but I have a letter for choir, like, believe it or not.
I believe not everybody's equipped.
So my mom wasn't running around as much as I am. So parents of today, we're just every night of the week. Tonight I'm actually off. I'm gonna make dinner and family time, but otherwise, you're running all over the place. It's hard to keep up.
I get it.
So for parents who, you know, you want to be involved, but even like, you know, things in school, you want to be involved in the things that your kids are interested in school, and you know, your religion and football, baseball, bands. I mean, there's just so many hours in the day for us.
And I think that's where a lot it's tough, because now that I am involved and I see how like the community doesn't really know what's going on. They are just kind of just going with the day, and I get it. And as a mom and a parent and a community member and a business owner, I'm there. I get it. And so when I say experiences, I mean, I've been through so much. I mean, you know, I don't want to get too deep into like even me growing up and the experience I've had. I think my podcast, I actually talk a little bit about that, the goods, the bads, the highs, the lows, you know. But I think that for me, I'm driven. I have a passion and a love for the community and wanting to just serve in the capacity that I see that local people in politics here need, that they're ignoring. They're not stepping up to that plate. And I feel like, what good am I being here in my community that I love, knowing and seeing things that are going on and that I'm questioning, and if I don't stand up and do something about it, well, then I can't complain about it.
Correct.
And you know, and again, not everybody is equipped to step up to a political role or position to run for. Not everybody. I get it, because let me tell you something. This is something I had to think long and hard about. I had to think about the fact, and I've mentioned this before in my podcast, I have to think about the fact that I might lose friends. I won't lose family. My family is 100% very supportive and very thankful. So I have to say thank you so much to my family for being supportive. Friends.
Why friends? I ask because I used to run a nonprofit, and I think you know this. I ran a nonprofit for about 10 years in the town of Barnegat for Scouts, and just retired recently after 10 years of doing it. And I had the women, it's at the time, a lot of men, a lot of women, I mean, a lot of moms, dead moms. And we're all different in our political views, but they're my best friends. So
when I say,
and we don't really talk about politics. I know their views. I don't know if they even know mine.
It's not in that aspect.
Oh, okay.
The aspect I've learned is that it's, you know, people are afraid. When it comes to politics, people are afraid. People are afraid for so many different reasons. I've had people come to me and say, Jess, why don't you do something else? Why don't you, you're gonna you got to be careful. You're a small business owner in town. You know, it's different if you're just a small business owner in town and you're doing your daily things and whatever. But now you're going to throw politics into the mix. And I'm not a politician, okay? A lot of people will be like, well, you are a politician. How could you not be a politician? Well, I'm not a politician. I am a mom. I'm a wife. I am a small business owner. I'm a family member. I'm a friend. I'm a
good loyal person.
I'm a good person. I
in my
have
opinion,
loves
a good
and
loyal
passion
person.
and empathy.
And I would rather have, and
Yeah.
I don't live in this town, I would rather have a good loyal person
right.
on my side for my children to go to school and for my business to thrive and to watch where the town puts their money into the different projects that have to do
Yeah.
with the people of the town.
Yeah, and my husband and I are taxpayers here, and we're renters. I'm renting the place that I'm in here now. So I'm not a politician when you really think about it. I wasn't spoon-fed politics.
No.
I mean, I just explained to you how I got involved in politics,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a love, it's a passion to want to help, to want to make a difference.
Yes.
There's a difference there. I don't have. People say I have to have an agenda. An agenda is like a calendar of things, you're going to do each day. That's what I think agenda is, like, in a positive way. But I've learned in politics, when it comes to an agenda, it's negative. Because usually when politics is connected with an agenda, there's personal gain there.
Okay.
Interesting. I've seen that. That's why I don't like to associate myself as a politician or as having an agenda, and I'm running on an agenda. No, I'm running because I have a love, a drive, a passion, I have empathy, and I have compassion for everyone, like everyone, because we live in a community that's full of all different diverse people.
Yes.
Our country is diverse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my love is, and my drive is to do the right thing, is to make the right choices for the community, not just one group of people. So, like, that's another thing as I'm learning, as I'm going through this process too. And over the years, I've seen, it's like, certain people cater to certain people. And what people don't understand is it's not just about you, or it's not just about what you're going to get out of it and what's in your pocket, your back pocket. It's not about you at all when you're running it for any political position. It's about your community and what's going to work for your community as a whole. And number one is our taxes. So, this whole entire state, mind you, is filled with many beautiful towns. And, in the towns, you have mayors and you have councilmen, and there are sometimes there's different forms of those who are governing in your town, okay, in local politics. Not always, not every town will have a mayor, but they have people that are governing there to help it run the right way. And, I see that there's a lot of different things as far as what's right and what's wrong. It's like, to me, that's pretty clear. There's a huge difference between right and wrong. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care. When you're doing something wrong.
Of course.
And regardless, people do things that are wrong for really one reason, because it's going to benefit them. And unfortunately, what happens is, in small towns, is that it doesn't always benefit the community. And especially if your community's doing a lot of borrowing, taking out a lot of bonds on things, and everything spills back out onto the taxpayers, to pick up the debt.
So what would you say would be some of the items that you are seeing that needs to be changed?
Well, I do believe that our taxpayers, they are, I'm a taxpayer here.
Yes.
We are, so I can say we, even though I am running for mayor in the general election, I can say we. we
Well,
are.
you still have to pay taxes.
Yeah, that's correct. So,
you're not getting, if you're
yeah,
mayor, you still have to pay the taxes,
so
right?
I'm gonna say that. So, I believe that, you know, this town is a sought out town to live in because of the taxpayers. Because without the taxpayers, this town would not be running the way it runs. Number one. But there are a lot of missing key elements that are happening, that are going on, and it's slowly getting worse. And it's just kind of just, you know, there's so many other distractions going on in the town. We have a lot of different things going on. And it kind of is a distraction. It distracts us away from...
What would be the things that would... Just name one that's a distraction. One thing.
One thing. Well, I see that they're talking about all the things. So the administration that's in now, they're talking about all the things that they're doing, and they're taking videos and of the parks and Beach Haven West, and we're doing that, and it kind of distracts the people away from really seeing what's really going on, because it's making them see, oh wow, they're doing that, oh wow.
I see. Okay.
And it's a driving point for them. And
it's such a large...
Yeah.
It's such a large town. Why don't you go over the different areas that the town covers?
Oh, so... well, obviously Ocean Acres is huge.
Yes.
It's like a town in itself.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot of people living in Ocean Acres. I mean, I don't even think you can even find a house in Ocean Acres at this point right now. We have so many people.
It's so sought after, that area.
Yeah, I mean...
I think so, yeah.
Our population has just grown tremendously.
And then your Ocean Acres would be down Nautilus.
And then we have Stafford Park.
And it connects to, through the development, it connects to the other main road, which is Lighthouse.
Lighthouse, right, correct.
So you have Stafford.
Goes into Barnegat.
Right, so you have, Nautilus, and then that has a nice area of parks and families, and then Lighthouse Parks and Families. Pickleball is at, we talked about that yesterday.
And Stafford Park, so we have a lot of families. That's a new development back there. So we have a lot of different developments popping up in our area. And obviously over here, I'm in Old Manahawkin.
Historic Manahawkin.
So you can just imagine there's about 24 districts in Stafford Township alone. You got Beach Haven West, and you got parts of West Creek, and so we have a lot of homes, a lot of roads. You know,
is
that
Long Beach Island part of
to.
this? Long Beach Island?
Long Beach Island, no.
No, okay.
No,
so
that's their own. They have their own borough and everything.
Oh, okay.
It's
so
like,
once Beach Haven West would be it.
So I have to tell you, I am still kind of learning a little bit about this, the way that works, because I think once you get over the bridge, that's where that disconnect happens.
Okay.
You know, it's interesting. But that's, you know, those are different things like that you learn, you know, are like, I was talking about the boatyard, and then I was talking about Bonnet Island, and I was talking about all those about being part of Stafford Township. I know the Mallard is and all that. So I know that that's on the way to LBI.
But that is part of this town?
I believe that it is, from what I had heard, so like I said, you know, don't hold me to that, but I am, you know, like those little things I'm still like coming to learn. Like I said, we're learning something new every day. But the important stuff is our taxes.
Yes.
The taxpayers, they need a tax break. And I'm going to just kind of go back to one reason why I believe this. One reason I believe that the taxpayers deserve to have a tax break, especially those everyone, but I think that there's this thing. So once your taxes go up, you're never going to get it. You're never going to get that money back.
No.
I've learned that very quickly. Because after Hurricane Sandy, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law live in Beach Haven West. And at this time during Hurricane Sandy, and my parents live in Seaside Park. So I had family who was affected by Hurricane Sandy. I seen the devastation and what it had done to people. So I never questioned that part of what I'm going to tell you. But I had gotten my taxes assessed, and or not assessed. I had gotten my taxes, and it was, I guess it was, yeah, it was assessed. It went up. So I questioned that. I went down to the town. Not a lot of people do this. They don't really care. People see it, whatever. They pay it. They move on. What can I do about it? They're not going to fight about it, so they just kind of just let it go. And sometimes it's not always the right thing to do. If you have a question, go down to the tax office and raise your questions. I strongly encourage that. Because if I didn't do this, I wouldn't have known this. So I saw it, that it went up. I didn't just like throw it down and say, oh, whatever, we're just going to pay it. No, I questioned it. So I went down, I questioned, why did our taxes go up $600? And everybody's taxes during Hurricane Sandy, if you were not affected by Hurricane Sandy, you didn't get a tax break where you didn't have, they had a deficit where, the people that had their houses destroyed, they didn't pay taxes. It was like there was some kind of state thing that happened. I'm not sure exactly what the wording for it is, but I know that this is what happened. The people who were unaffected, their taxes went up to make up for the deficit in the town of the loss. So the taxpayers picked up the deficit, the loss, for the town to compensate for the taxes that the town would lose because of Hurricane Sandy. So my taxes went up $600, but it was based on the value of your home, obviously, on how much your taxes were going to go up and whatnot, like anything else. And they said, yeah, we're making it. We have to make up for the deficit, for the loss, And I said, okay, so when the deficit is gone, and everybody's houses are rebuilt, and Hurricane Sandy is, everything's done, right? With Hurricane Sandy, everybody's getting their money. Some people didn't get their money. Some people really got, I say the word screwed. And then there was also people who used the system, took advantage of the system during Hurricane Sandy. There was a lot of things that took place.
A lot of elements.
A lot of financial stuff got
So
took place.
The money went up $600.
So the money went up $600.
10 plus years later, and it never went down.
So 10 plus years later, and that $600 we're still paying for in our taxes. So we never saw a tax break for that. And meanwhile, now
was that the proper reasoning?
Well, that's what I was told at that time.
Right.
So I don't care whether it was the proper reasoning or not. The point is that that's what I was told, and clearly that's why our taxes had went up, and clearly our taxes have not gone down.
No, right.
So therefore, I think about this. This is why I mention this. Now the town is still getting that $600 from us, correct? And not only that, but now they're also getting the taxes from the houses that we actually were making up for their deficit, their loss.
Right.
Now
they're paying their taxes.
But they're not only paying their taxes on a little cottage anymore. They're paying their taxes on a 2-3 story house that's now valued at millions, versus hundreds of thousands. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so now the town's getting all that money that they didn't get before Hurricane Sandy. So they're not only getting quadruple the money in their taxes, but they're also still collecting the money from us, from the deficit that has been long gone, done. So yeah, I say, from, a lot of people are getting it confused with the tax levy and the surplus and all that stuff, but they want to take the town, the administration in the town wants to take $4 million and put it into the surplus. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. Like I said, it's like that. There's just so much to learn and so much to know about, like, where the money's going, how it's being spent. There's a lot of things. And a lot of stuff is put out there for us, but it's really hard to read. It's really hard to really understand. It's like almost like it's like in a different language. So back to that, you have a town that was putting in $2 million, for the town every year. Now all of a sudden we're putting in $4 million. We're putting in over $4 million.
Wow.
So the taxpayers, me including, would like to know, well, why? Why? What do you know that we don't know? And I asked that question in the last town meeting. And and how that question got answered was with a question. Which I kind of felt like that was kind of like, I don't know. I didn't like that. Why? You really couldn't give me an answer? What do you know? Why do we have to put that? Why can't you give the taxpayers a break?
Right.
Why can't you help the taxpayers to have, you're going around and you're taking pictures and you're doing that. And that's another thing they did in the town meeting. I kind of caught that a little bit, was that, they kind of like threw that out there. Oh, let's take pictures. Because I mentioned a while ago about how, you have these politicians. I hate to say the word politicians, but anyway, you have these people who are in political positions, and it's part of the job. I hate even saying that, running for a political position is a job, but you're serving your community. So when you have new businesses, you're cutting the ribbon,
right.
and you're welcoming the new business into the town, and you're doing all this stuff. And I get it. That's what you do. But the way I see it, because I am a small business, is so I love that they do that. I think that's great. But where are they now? It's like, you cut my ribbon, and I've never seen your face again. I've never seen anyone come in here from the town and ask me, how's business? How's everything? And so there we go in. So also I'm for lowering taxes for our taxpayers. And I am a problem solver. I'm a thinker. And there are a lot of ways, and I will find a way.
Very nice.
For that. But now we're going into the small business community now, which I am 100% for. I say to myself, like, I don't want to, for me, small businesses are the economy's changing. And so small businesses are having a tough time. But it's like, so you put it out there on the media, like, oh, I'm for the business, I'm for the small business, I'm for the small business. But where are you? Where are you? Have you come in? Have you seen? So I believe, as a small business owner and running for mayor, that I would like to see the town be more for small businesses in their town, like offer different incentives, help find different programs and, strategies and different things like that. I think the town needs to offer different things like that. I think, different avenues, maybe grants and things like that, to kind of help the small business community. And helping just, a small business, I feel like, to have to rent a space in the town when you are already established here, just to network your business. I feel like there's little ways that I think our town can help with that. And, popping into the small businesses and seeing how everybody's doing. And I do know that this last administration, they did try to implement something for small businesses, but it didn't last. And to me, there you go about consistency. What did you just say?
Yes.
I believe if you're going to do that, you just let it go. You let it go. You didn't keep up with it for it to work, because obviously we know as business owners, small business owners, that in order for us to survive, we got to keep reinventing ourselves. We got to keep doing different things, and we can't give up.
Right.
That's how you grow. You grow because you don't give up, because you have a drive and a passion. So here, I feel like that drive that they had was only to get votes for them. So I feel like also getting out there in the community and cutting ribbons and doing all this, it's like they use it as a drive to get more votes.
As a small business, too, if you don't know, for example, if she has or I have this dress that I'm wearing and it's a boutique style dress, small business today, it's so hard because you have the computer at your fingertips. You put in a black dress and a million different dresses will come up. And I'm not, an Amazon. a boutique can't get you something in 24 hours like Amazon can.
Right.
So we're all competing against Amazon. But where is Amazon when they do have good customer service because you can return it now to Kohl's and whatever, right?
Yeah.
For free.
It's true.
So it really does make it hard. But when, you want to come into a beautiful shop like this and have a beautiful, by the way, beautiful tea arrangement, a free cup of tea, which I'm going to have a cup of tea in a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm going to get some oil for the back of my neck. I'm sorry if I keep going like this, but I have I think it's allergies from the pollen and everything.
It is, yes.
Because I have it all here in the front. But you don't get that personalized service. And that's how I run my business
Me
as
too.
well.
Like connection.
Personalized, you come into our store and, you get a complimentary glass of champagne or you get a complimentary cup of herbal tea, and we have little like biscottis and different things and little noshes. And
you're trying to you want to think outside the box. You want to bring good to your community and the surrounding communities.
Right.
For them to be able to come in and connect.
A welcoming place. And it's not really to outdo another place, but I just find that that's always been me.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked in finer department stores.
I want to see all businesses be successful. That's why I'm saying. That's why I was talking about
I would like. This. Somebody said something yesterday, and it got my brain working. One of the neighbors said something, and it got my brain working with this beautiful historic district right here.
That's
why isn't there more things
small businesses
like you guys? Like, I'll be honest with you. So I used to be a restaurant manager in the town of Freehold. Now, if you've ever been to the town of Freehold, there's all eateries outside with the sidewalks, and we used to all pay a certain amount of money at this time of the year from April through October, November for the sidewalk cafes outside. We all had that big lip, and when you go down Main Street, which is 79 in the town of Freehold, they all have their outside cafes. And who is Italian and who is New American cuisine with the Japanese flair, and the library's right there, and they'll do their book sale, and they'll do the American Hotel is there, which has a lot of history. And we used to have our Freehold partnership, which would be part of the Chamber of Commerce, and we used to meet on how we can all help each other because we're all in competition with one another, but we're all there to help each other.
Right.
So if I would be working the hostess
that's called
stand,
spreading love to other local businesses, being a business owner yourself.
Of course. Different strokes for different folks.
I think business owners have a fear of the competition, and so they don't want to help and promote other businesses, which I think is really sad. I think that our community needs to be more supportive of each other when it comes to small businesses, and not be afraid that if you send someone to this store or that store, that you're going to lose business that way. I feel like when you're that way, you gain a lot more. But what I was saying is that it's consistency. When it comes to small businesses in this town, in our town, and in any town, that I really think that our towns need to be more for us as small business owners, and help and try. But instead, I watched how it happened, because I did start out in the Manor House shops,
which is beautiful,
in
beautiful.
2012.
And now she's directly across the street. We can see it. It's a beautiful building.
And my mother-in-law owns the Manor House
and then
shops.
the others,
it's a
the other
beautiful.
little
There's
stores
all
that
small little business owners inside.
Yeah, and then
it's
even here when we're looking across the street,
yeah,
you have the antique store. I mean, there's some really pretty things over there.
There is, and there has been more businesses here, but they have closed, and that's sad. It's very sad to see that. And through the years, I've lived here for a little over 15 years, and to see a lot of this stuff changing, it's interesting. But so again, I'm for the small business community. Also, I just want to real quick go through some things that I'm for.
Yes.
Because I know you were saying, and then obviously our school systems. Obviously, I am for what is going to be best for the kids. My daughter is going to be 10. And she is in the Stafford Township School District. My son since graduated in 2022 from Southern Regional School District. And so I see the different programs, and I do hear a lot of different things that are changing. And I don't want to see any programs cut for the schools. I think that we need as many programs as we can possibly have for our kids. You know, we have so many amazing teachers, I have to say. I homeschooled my daughter in 2nd grade. She's now in 4th grade. And just going through that experience alone, you know, was gave me a newfound appreciation also for what the teachers have to go through and endure. And then also there are a lot of things that I have witnessed just going through different things with my daughter, that there are a lot of things that the teachers, you know, may not agree with, but they have to agree with, and they have to do things a certain way because of, you know, the Board of Education.
Yes, I know that firsthand because from when I worked in the Barnegat school system.
And I think it's also important for us to have a good, solid members on the Board of Education.
Yes.
Because again, you're serving in the community, and you are serving the kids in your school systems.
The future of tomorrow.
And I think that's very important that you have good people in there who really have the best interests for the kids, not for themselves.
And that's important to know too, because as running for mayor, you are part of We the People.
That's right. Correct.
You are not here to make money for yourself. You're here to hear what the community needs and wants, not for what you want and need.
Right. And that's the thing that I do see locally in politics. And politics is playing a hand in everything right now. And so that's another reason that drives me to run for mayor, is that it has to stop. Because first off, every parent has the right to be involved in their children's education, and the right to say, no, I don't want my child to be taught certain things. There are certain things that are not appropriate that I see that the Board of Education is trying to implement in law now.
Yes.
And so I am completely against that. I am sorry. There are things that, you know, I as a parent am going to teach my child, my children, and it is not the place of the school system to be teaching my children certain things. I think every parent would probably agree on that. So
I send my kid there to learn reading, math, social studies, science.
Yes.
Maybe some,
extracurricular little things like art and
music and things like that.
Which are other programs that, like, we have to make sure that we maintain in our schools. These are very, very vital and very important. And then I also wanted to say, you know, like the programs. I think that in our town, you know, we're growing. Our youth is growing here in this town tremendously, and we have a lot of schools too. Not to mention that. But we have to keep the programs in the schools. It's very vital, because in our town we don't have much going on for our kids that live here year round. There's a lot of summer camps, a lot of summer programs, a lot of stuff, and I feel like that's the other thing. Our town needs to be more aware. Here we are with a different set of eyes of the different age groups of kids in the town, and offering programs through the town, through our community centers and things like that. So I know they utilize the community center a lot for the seniors. I think it's amazing. It's great. But that we don't have a lot of different things for our kids that are here year round. And our kids are growing, and they're getting in trouble, and they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing because there is nothing really for them to do. So I want to see more of that in our community. I also talked about a sports complex, which when I had my screening for mayor, they were like totally against it. And they're like, oh yeah, you're for taxpayers, but you want to have a sports complex. Well, let me just confirm, or not even confirm, but let me just go back and talk about that for a second, because there are other ways. There are investors, there are other people, there are other ways to get us a sports complex here in our town that's not only going to be utilized for the whole entire town. That includes the seniors. There could be programs ran from there. There can be things for the winter. All the sports in the winter have no place to go and practice. And, it's costing people who are already taxpayers here, it's costing them even more money to rent out different places to take their kids to go to the sports. So they got to pay for that. I mean, there's so many things good and positive that could come from having a indoor sports complex for our kids. And we do have space. They say we don't have space, but we have space.
There's buildings all along 72 that are empty.
And anyone who is interested in being an investor or taking part in something like that, I'd really like to talk to you. I'd really like to have conversation with you if you're really interested. But I think that our kids need that. The seniors could totally utilize it, and people would come from other places to come and use and utilize it. So it's going to drive revenue. So that's the other thing about our taxpayers. We need to have revenue driven from other places and sources to help alleviate the taxpayers, and I think that the town right now, the administration that's been in here doesn't want that. Clearly. I mean, I could tell you a bunch of different things that'll probably bring in revenue here. Different little things that we can implement here in our town that will help drive the revenue that we need, that will help also not only drive revenue, but it's also going to create jobs. It's also going to create
business.
It's also going to create only growth for our community. And it's only going to help the youth in this community and the seniors and everybody in this community. So I think that there's a lot of different things, and obviously I'm a thinker, I'm a problem solver, and I am looking out for what's in best interest for our community. Not for me, and then for me, like, for instance, like we were talking about running for mayor.
Yes.
I'm very content with my life and, and being a mom and a small business owner and just doing what I'm doing. So why would I want to run for mayor? Why would I want to do that? Why? Well, because the only way you can make a difference is if you stand up and you run for a political position. And this is it. And people ask me, well, why didn't you just run for councilman or councilwoman? And I said, well, I'm not going to do that because I watched with my own eyes how easy it is to be taken out of being a council person based upon the fact that you're not a yes man and you don't agree all the time with everything. But if you are stepping up to the plate and you see something wrong in something, why should you stand up for something that's being done wrong and it's not going to be good long term, not even just now, but even long term for the community and the taxpayers? Why would you stand up for something is wrong? And so I believe that within our council, and I believe it's happening everywhere, not just in our town, but in a lot of towns, it's all about what's going to be, what kind of kickback you're going to get, what's going to go in your back pocket if you push this or you don't push this or you don't do this or you do that. And it's so easy to just, I like to say the word ousted. It's so easy to just oust a councilman, a councilwoman for saying no to something. And then obviously you could see it for yourself how you get almost degraded and bullied literally on the live town meeting. So everybody can see it here in Stafford Township, just because someone said no to something and has had said no to different things. Like the raise. It's funny how someone wanted a raise, but decided they weren't going to bring it to the calendar for a town meeting. And then it was like, within a month or so, the person that was in agreement with it, one of the people, got ousted. And somehow there was some kind of loophole that was made that they found that they could just get rid of someone and replace them with someone who was going to be a yes man.
Jeez.
I mean, I seen it with my own eyes, and I questioned it, and they didn't like it very much. And as soon as I questioned it, it was like the people that I thought that I knew kind of just pushed me away.
Really?
So I see how it works. I see what's happening, and I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to be that person.
Well, this was great. We should do
and
this
there's so
more
many-
often. I mean, we can't.
No, I know this is a lot.
Yeah, we can't.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We got a lot of time on here.
Yeah.
Well, I think we talked a lot.
We did.
And there is still so much more, but I think we got a good base here.
Yeah. Yeah. For
so
sure.
you can kind of see like
who
I am.
And, yeah, for sure. And
me,
then
Erica.
we should do this. Yes. And definitely, we should probably do this a little bit more often. Definitely.
I know. So that way we
even
can
when you're
keep
mayor.
retired.
So this you take 15 minutes every week.
So if you would like to, I'd be honored to have your signature on my petition to get me on the general election ballot. I would be honored. You have no idea. I'd be honored. And I'm making my way around, and hopefully you'll listen to this. It's pretty long, but I think we talked about it. It's an hour and 45 minutes.
Is it?
So, but hey, I mean, we really talked about a lot of stuff. This could be really good.
Okay.
I don't even think this could be good. This is good.
Okay.
It's a good thing. So anyway, I think we got a lot of stuff out there. But that's it. I think we're going to end it. And you can contact me at Jessica Lynn Di Maria at gmail.com. Or you can connect with me on Facebook. You can send me any kind of private message somehow. You can stop here locally in my business to come see me at Aramids Designs. And that's it.
Excellent.
Have a wonderful, blessed day, guys. And thank you for, sharing your time with us. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye, guys.